All right, Valee.
What's
Great to
going
see
on?
you.
What's going on? I'm glad you had me.
Yeah, I'm looking
I
forward to
really
this
appreciate it.
conversation. Yeah, definitely, man. Valee, the impresario, the virtuoso. How's your day going?
Going good. Going good. My day always going good.
That's what's up, man. So I understand you were born in the Robert Taylor homes.
Yeah, but we moved about 1 month after that to a equally dangerous place. But right, like 2 neighborhoods over, so it kind of count, but it don't count. But yeah, born in Robert Taylor.
Which neighborhood did you move to?
What is that? We stayed on 65th and Low. Uh, so that's right over on the other side of the train.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you moved around quite a bit growing up.
Yeah, but 4 times until yeah, we moved 4 times, and but all on the south side. Mm.
What kind of music did you listen to in the house? What kind of stuff was your mom playing?
Sade and Whitney Houston. Any woman that made her probably not feel like she was working so hard or something. But yeah, every time I got in the car, I got picked up, she was playing Sade or Whitney or yeah, En Vogue. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I've heard you talk about artists you'd like to work with, and Jill Scott was mentioned, and Lauryn Hill you've mentioned before, and I always feel like there must be a connection to hearing those artists
Yeah.
around your house and from your parents.
Yeah. Definitely
Yeah,
with the Sade and stuff like that. My mom played Jill too, but like when you said when I was growing up, it was mostly like the singing women and stuff like that. But yeah, that's why I want to work with Jill, Floetry, Jill Scott. I want to work with a lot of people that people wouldn't think I would work with.
I mean that's a funny statement to hear from you. You've worked with so many different people now. You know, your catalog to me is probably more diverse than what maybe you're known for. You
Right.
know, you've got the trappiest disco project, you got the trappiest elevator music project.
Yeah.
To me, you are a virtuoso, like the Harry Fraud Project states. And I'm very interested in learning more about your influences because it's not something that I think can be trained to a degree. I think at some point, there has to be early influences that open your mind to how different sounds connect with different people.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's right. But see, I was playing like when it got to the point for me to play my own music, or how when you're a kid you got your stereo, your speakers in your room. I was playing a lot of Cash Money, and my friend who stayed across the street from me got me into all this Cash Money and Big Timers and everything. So that's what I was playing. Definitely. My friend who stayed next door
Do
to
you have a
me,
favorite Cash Money project?
probably all of them. And Manny Fresh, people don't know Manny Fresh put out his own project where he was actually rapping. He put 30 songs on there. So that was one of my favorite projects too. But anything they did, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize Wayne is probably the he's a millennial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Wayne has been around for so long. Cash Money has been dominant for so long, and he was so young at that point in time. Uh, I just think that they're one of the best organizations in terms of capturing sounds.
Yeah, definitely. Them, and I like No Limit too. When they were doing all they was doing like the army tanks in the videos, and the like before all the animation and stuff was going on. I think they had something with Mystical with all the tanks and that whole theme. I was messing with that.
You know, it's there's a story I saw you tell once where you were living somewhere and you were bored. You didn't know what to do. You didn't know how to entertain yourself necessarily. You left the house to go get a video game system
Hmm.
and you came back with recording equipment.
Yeah.
Was what system were you gonna get?
Uh, that's the thing. I asked like 3 or 4 people. I'm like, do I get PlayStation or Xbox? Like, what is I'm even supposed to be doing? And so, I left to get a game system, but I still didn't know which one to get. But then something stopped me. I'm like, wait a minute. My ass used to make beats. I used to make beats. I used to record myself a little bit. So I'm like, I'll just go get that again. Because I'm actually not finna sit up and play the game.
So what recording equipment did you come back with?
Uh, I had kind of tweaked a little bit too, because I spent some unnecessary money. I had bought like the little the drum, the chaotic. I think it was by Elements. It was a drum board. It was a beat machine thing. It was just too much going on. So I got that. I had a interface. I already had a laptop. I bought a mic, and then I bought the monitors, the 2 speakers.
You just mentioned that you had made music prior to that.
Yeah.
Caused that hiatus between when you first started making music and when you decided to build a home studio?
Well, when we started making music when I was in high school, so we was bored, really. That's what it was. Like, people were saying we should take it serious or whatever, but we really was bored. We probably recorded like maybe 15, 20 songs through the span of that. But yeah, and then I always been into cars, so as soon as I got a car, all that music was out. I wanted to put speakers in my car and play the best music, but yeah, I don't think I always wanted to make music. I never really thought about recording or being a rapper.
And it's also interesting. You've been described as an auto mechanic, but you seem to not embrace that label fully.
Yeah.
But you customize other people's cars. Like, how did you get into
all that shit?
carpentry
All
and
that's
car
on
design?
accident though. All that's on accident. Like that really come from having your own shit, and then when you need something done. Maybe I don't like the job. Like if I want big wheels on a car, like back then we'll put 26s on a car, and I didn't like the job that people was doing when they cut the car to make the wheels fit. So when I had got my wheels, I actually just ended up doing it myself. And then when people see it, I'm not going around telling people that I cut my own car, but when people happen to overhear I cut my own car, then they want their car cut. I think so. I didn't put. Somebody done had me cut on their Maserati before, like years ago, to put rims on their car in my mama garage. But so that's on accident. Even with the if I blow a motor, I just end up fixing it myself. And so yeah, kind of on accident.
I guess it's an accident, but that's an expensive accident. You know what I mean? Like, where did you learn how to do that? Did you have a friend? Did you hang out at the body shop? Like,
No.
or you just
It really just come from being around your own shit a little bit too much. Like if you take a kid and you buy him a brand new bike, he gets to keep his bike in his bedroom only because it's brand new. You're not tripping on that. But when you wake up, don't be surprised if his ass got tire shine on there and some whole other stuff. Like, that's what I mean. Like, if you sitting around your stuff too long, you end up kind of overdoing it. You end up bothering it all the time.
Yeah. Did you do you remember the first car that was yours that you
Yeah. But see,
modeled or remodeled?
no, my OG and them, they didn't want me to have nothing fast. So my first car was a damn family car, like a Taurus or something like that. So yeah, I knew I didn't want that car though, but it was a clean car. I took it too far with that car. I ain't put no wheels or nothing on there, but I just wanted what I wanted. So, but I ended up getting my place. I ended up moving out first, and then I got what I wanted.
Did you work in carpentry also?
No, see, all that shit is on accident too. that come from really like having a place, and then like Like I have a small warehouse, and as soon as they said you could do whatever you want to do in here, you can make it look like the Taj Mahal. Then you kind of end up building stuff. You build a kitchen. You'll go build a, you know. So that's how that happened. But I ain't never fixed nobody roof or I ain't never did nothing like that. I ain't never did nothing for nobody else's place. Hmm.
There's a lot of interesting anecdotes about you with building things that are out there in the world. I'm sure you know a few of them. But, obviously remodeling cars is one.
Yeah.
I hear you build fish tanks in walls. You built fish tanks in your walls and things like that.
Yeah,
I
you
hear
got me.
one pivotal conversation you had was with Andrew Barber, and you offered to build him a home bar.
Yeah, I might have did that. That's true. Yeah.
You know, between these examples of cars, you going out one day to get a game system, coming back with a studio, uh, building bars for family members and, offering your services to people you care about.
Yeah.
And music. It just seems like you're a builder and a creator by nature. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and then with Andrew, that I think that stemmed from we was having a conversation, and I brought up the fact one day I built my mom a bar for to go in her living room, and it had to match her end tables and her furniture set. So I told him that, and then I told him, yeah, I built your ass a bar. That's what I told him. So yeah.
That's got to be one of the most unique stories I've heard from anybody in this space ever
Yeah.
at any point in time. What other things have you built that stand out in your mind? I'm sure you mentioned you've hooked up other people's cars here and there.
Yeah,
You
stuff
built your
like
bar
that.
for your mom.
My first crib, I put a pond, like a real pond in the crib. That might have been like kind of overdoing it because I had real brick, and went and bought, all these bricks and everything and made a real pond in the crib. So, and I had to take it down a few times. Like when the building people would come and inspect, I got to take down the damn pond. And then when they leave, I put the pond back up, you know. But yeah, probably just a pond though. Because a pond, having a pond in the
What'd you
living
put in the
room,
pond?
koi fish. And that's what it was too. I went to a pet store and they led me to believe that koi was cheap. Like they had all these like foot long, foot and a half koi, and for some reason they was only like $70. So I actually bought the fish first, didn't have a pond, and then I knew I needed to do something about that, so I ended up building a pond.
I'm sorry. And every time the building was inspected, you took the pond down and then put
Yeah,
it back up.
because it was like a real nice building. I was the youngest tenant in the whole building. And, them building people coming in scratch their head. Talking about, I remember the owner came in. He said, I don't know. I'm going to have to get back to you. It looks heavy. So I just took it down. That's when it started. So I just took it down and put it back up until I moved.
That's fascinating to me. It's so interesting. Um, all right, so you and Andrew Barber connect,
Yeah.
right? If I'm not mistaken, Fix Your Drive had been posting you for a long time, and there was a track called Shell
Mm-hmm.
that I think was pivotal. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And so you guys connect, and what's that first conversation like after, I guess he gets back from LA and you guys start talking to each other?
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that wanted me to work with Andrew like maybe a year or two before me and Andrew actually had a conversation. So the crazy thing is when me and Andrew finally had a conversation, the fact that we both were saying how long we were supposed to be linking together, but we neither one of us ever really took the time to, it was like it had its own story. I think YouTube was playing or a playlist was playing. Maybe YouTube just on its own at his place or wherever Andrew was, and then he heard Shell come on. You know, you just hear something sound like it's in another room. Yeah. And so I think a couple of days after that, we had a conversation. But since then, I ain't stopped talking to him. He ain't stopped talking to me. Because I just get stuck on one thing. Like, I'll just be really into making songs, making music. So without Andrew, it's kind of difficult, you know. He make it easy to do.
Do you remember how many projects you might have had out then? I remember 1212. I think maybe 111 might have been out.
Uh-huh. And
You put out 1212 again.
Mm-hmm.
You were doing times at a certain point in time. But
Yeah.
I don't remember Shell necessarily being on any of those projects.
No, I think Shell came out on 222. I did 1212, 11.
222.
Did I do 12? I did 1212, 111, and 222 because those were the only. You got 1212 in the afternoon, and then you got 1212 on the calendar. Same with 111, and the same with 222. And then after that, I couldn't find no more numbers that had a on the clock and on the month, so it ain't work. But then the covers came from Snapchat. I said, shit, if I got to put out music, if I got to have a cover, I just want it to be anything with the number big as hell in the middle. It just looked like a Snapchat pic back then. So that's where that came from. And I wanted it simple. I wanted a simple background.
So this is, what, 2015, 2016?
Yeah. Yep.
Did you have a vision for your career at this point in time, or was this sort of a hobby at that point in time?
Probably since I went to Guitar Center and got that equipment, music has been the only thing to do. You know, I never really looked at it like a career or nothing like that. But I mean, it's actually nothing else to do for me, unless I'm messing with a car or something. But
Building a pond.
yeah. Or building a pond.
All right, so I'm sorry. I think that's the coolest story. I'm sorry. You
Say building a
then
pond
now
is
that I hear
crazy,
that you
huh?
took the pond down several times and put it back up, that's even
Yeah.
better. I didn't know that one. All right, so now you and Andrew are working together, and what happens next?
Really, he just guided me, like, as far as just making sure that I worry about making the music, and like if that's what I want to do, then we really just focus on that. It makes life real easy on that, Also, a lot of features, like a lot of the features, sometimes he may guide me and tell me, look, this person reached out or this person reached out this way. This will be a good look. That'll be a good look. So without him, I wouldn't know a lot. Kind of half of the stuff, I'd just be in my own world about making music, But after our conversation, people had been, wanting me to take it like, maybe not be independent, maybe do a label thing or something like that. So everything went well after that.
Yeah, I think you did go in the label direction in a major way.
Mm-hmm.
So well, let me ask you this: do you remember the first time you met John Monopoly?
Yeah.
John actually asked me to ask you that.
Mm-hmm.
John was like, ask him this one.
Yeah.
So what do you remember about that? And what do you remember by that?
Well,
about that moment?
John Monopoly, I got a funny story. John Monopoly actually probably don't even know he showed me how to roll up. Like, I watched him roll some weed one day, and it was just interesting how he was doing it. And so every time I roll up every day, it's really his fault that the blunt's so perfect. I watched the man roll up like back to back in front of me, but this is another story. But John is Even in LA, like John makes sure I'm straight and everything. We done had what do we have? We had a label dinner before. We done had some stuff.
Yeah. You know, I think one story that I remember. This might be one of the first times that I remember seeing you out there because I do remember this. You were performing at a Pitchfork, and I think it was a Pitchfork event, like a Pitchfork weekend
Mhm.
is the Pitchfork festival. You're performing there, and you had your dog in your book bag,
Yeah,
and that went super viral.
yeah. That was on accident. The dog in the book bag thing. Yeah,
I mean, you have a dog with you now.
yeah. I got a lot of dogs. They all little. Yeah,
Right.
I got a lot of little
So
dogs.
how was it? So what was you had your book bag? You didn't trust nobody else to hold your dog while you rocked, or how that accident happened so perfectly?
Well, all right. So I think I had got there. I got there like not too quick, not too soon before it was time for me to perform, and ended up really not having enough time to do really anything. So kind of got like rushed on the stage, and yeah. And before you know it, I was done performing, but I actually forgot that I had the damn dog and the book bag, and I just yeah. I think that's the only performance I ever did with a and like a white beater too. So I probably went in there real quick and just hit the liquor and then got on stage and forgot I had the dog with me. Hmm.
You have a pattern of happy accidents, as you describe it.
Yeah, I just be going with the flow. Shit just be coming up the way it's supposed to be happening. You know.
So after that, you guys go to LA not too long after that, and now you're officially talking to Good Music. Is that correct? Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Hmm.
Do you remember your first trip out there to talk to the people at the label at Good Music? What was that like for you?
It was nice. Um, because you got to remember too. We had went and I talked to quite a few people that reached out, and I just wanted to hear and listen to what people had to say and how beneficial it would be, and things like that. So I liked I liked what they had going on, or the fact that I had my own lane over there, you know.
What do you mean by that? What stood out for what they said versus the other people you're talking to? Your own lane, like well, if you could add some color, I'm not quite sure what that means.
Okay, like if you want to be an artist or whatever it is you want to do, it's like with that label, I felt like they got a great classroom of people that's artists, and I feel like everybody do their own paintings, their own art, and whatever it is that I'm talking about or got to bring to the table, I see my own area for that basically already. Like I don't have to worry about joining a label or something like that, and then accidentally. Because I only give a fuck about making songs, so I don't have to worry about joining a label or being somewhere and accidentally being too good or something like that. And then if somebody already big or popping, how do I know I'm finna go back to Chicago and then they not finna use that while I'm asleep? So I just felt like I could do my thing over here. I ain't got to worry about nothing.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting that because you earlier you mentioned getting advised to go in a label direction.
Hmm.
You've got all these labels that you've been talking to now. I mean, this is I understand better now what you mean by letting you do your own thing, but that is prime time creativity. I mean,
Hmm.
especially that era, right? It's Ye, it's Steve Rifkin, it's Che Pope, it's John Monopoly, it's
Hmm.
Plain Pat. You know what I mean? It's these are the curators of the past 25 years almost.
Yeah,
Did you feel at home sitting down talking to them?
definitely. The biggest thing too was the fact that when I used to record and make beats a long time ago, my friend who stayed next door to me, he was very into making beats, but all he did was he sampled and sampled. So I learned a lot about old music and old musicians, any old groups, the Spinners, the Four Tops, all kind of stuff I never even heard about, Janis Joplin. So my next door neighbor taught me all that, but his idol was Kanye. That's all he cared about is how Kanye produced and how raw Kanye is. So that was crazy to even experience that from my next door neighbor before I was even really into doing music. So that's a big thing to reach out, for Ye and good music to reach out. That was a big thing.
Yeah, look at that. Another happy accident. It's all happening. You know, that was an interesting time too, though, even from a good music standpoint. But you did put out the first EP. What was it called? The Good Job joint. The Good Job EP came out.
Yeah, good job you found
The Miami joint with Pusha T. That video is hard. I love that track, by the way.
I appreciate it.
How did you guys how did that project particularly come about? Was it a lot of songs you already had, or did you guys actually get into the studio and create it together? Can you describe the process that led up to that EP?
Well, they wouldn't. Nobody would stop talking about the Miami joint. So when I heard that Push wanted to get on a Miami joint, I think we had two choices. I think it was either I Got Whatever that we kept playing or Miami. So Miami just felt, of course, more like you going somewhere or you somewhere else, for anybody in the world. So we went with that one. And I do like it, though, because Push, I used to listen to Push so much back in the day. Like, of course, before all the beating on the desk and all that, but Push came out on Miami, and I like it.
Yeah, I mean that song is. I feel like that project didn't get as much attention as it deserved, and still deserves.
Yeah, because was it an EP?
I mean, it's pristine.
We put out, I believe, half of the songs on there had already been kind of out. So really, we were also putting out a project that would gain some traction. Keep the ball rolling, and then show a mix of half new stuff and half old. Mm-hmm.
It was also, like I said before, it was a very, I guess, tumultuous is probably the right way to describe it. Time and good music. I mean, I think a few years before that, Kanye. I think Kim got robbed in Paris, and Kanye wasn't around as much. He was kind of quiet. I know that one of his first public mental health breaks, as he's described it, might have been right before when you got there. And then later, a lot of things were happening in Wyoming. So it just seemed like, a lot of huge ideas, a lot of huge artistic statements, but then also very, like, nothing really grounded at the same time. From outside, it seems that way.
Right.
How would you describe that point in time on good music?
Well, you got to think too. All I care about is just getting nice songs done. So I never really look at the what some people could say is not going so well at the moment or whatnot like that, because I may not even actually be in that world all the way. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times we're gonna have big, huge ideas and nothing's gonna really get grounded. But I see what you mean. But I don't feel like it affected anything as far as me wanting to work with good music,
Did you feel like you learned anything creatively through working with people at good music?
Definitely. Especially, one way is it's a way, I like the way Ye record sometimes. People don't know that there's a way you could just record and then you just have like the mic going around the room. So we all just sitting there chilling or whatever and smoking and talking shit, and then the mic just get passed to you. You just really freestyling, but all that shit is recorded, even if it's 20 minutes. Even if it's the same beat going back, even if it's the same beat loop 5 times, whatever happens is all recorded. I learned that too.
Who?
That's kind of better than just sitting there
Oh, that's real cool.
focusing on the song and, doing it perfectly. You just sit there and jot down ideas.
Yeah, that's real cool. I mean, I was watching an interview with you. I guess maybe you did it last year, and I can't think of homegirl's name, but she recorded you recording
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning of the conversation, and then later you were talking about, and she was pointing out how you didn't always write. Sometimes you punched in, or you just freestyled, and so it seems like you have a lot of different ways to craft songs and craft conversations through your music. Is that something you've utilized since your Kanye West or your Good Music experience? The everybody pass the mic, it's all recorded.
No, that's just one of the coolest ways I've seen anybody just play around or and get something recorded. But just like since I went to Guitar Center and got the equipment, basically, my job has been to record myself to the best of my ability. Pick the best beats I could pick and, approach each beat the best I can. But really, I just stay driven on that. So I gotta, if I just made 5 songs last night, I damn near don't want to rap unless I know I'm going to say something better than I said on all 5 songs 6 hours ago. That's my problem.
Right. Now, Womp Womp. Gotta talk about Womp Womp. Gold record, sync licensed all over the place. I think it surprised a lot of people. I don't think it was an obvious hit to a lot of people a lot of lever pullers at that point in time. Do you remember making that song? Where were you when you made that song?
Chicago Recording Company Studio, CRC. Downtown. I remember. I had a shitty day earlier that day. Yeah. And then going to, when Jay say go to the studio, if Z Money say go to the studio, I know it's going to be fun. So when I got there, that song was already kind of halfway done, or the idea was there for me to do my verse, or a verse and a half, I guess. Yeah, we did shoot the video. We shot the video with Chance too, there at the same studio. Day before Christmas, we stayed there till 5 a.m.
When you were done recording that song, did it feel any different than any other song you might have made in any way at all?
Yeah, it definitely felt different because that pocket, to just hug that pocket, and then I didn't even know what to say yet. Really, that's one of the times going in the booth and actually going in the booth and not knowing what to say the moment I get in the booth. But then it's one of the fastest things I ever recorded. Yeah. Recorded that fast.
Yeah, I mean that song is so infectious. Why isn't it on a project? Right? I mean, I guess your time at Good Music, I don't think you really got a chance to put out an official album. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say, because the Good Job You Found Me, like I said, it was half new and half old songs. So what I was gonna do was put out a self-produced project, and I was gonna rap on, but then I had 2 or 3 other project ideas, but it also didn't feel like I just didn't know if I liked everything. Once I make music and sit on it so long, even if it's a month, even if it's a couple months, I probably don't like the shit no more because I have to say something, but But it could be the best thing in the world, but I don't like it no more because I recorded myself, I said it, and I want to make something better.
I've noticed that with different artists that I've had the honor of talking to over my career. A lot of times their biggest songs end up being songs that they don't feel that good about no more.
Yeah. I like Womp Womp
I mean,
though.
take Womp Womp, right? Okay.
You also gotta perform these songs, like crazy, So it's like if you want to perform like, oh man, I like this song I like that song. We have favorite songs and the crowd may not know those songs yet or it may not be out yet, but we have to always perform what they want to hear. But they don't know it kind of makes us
That song,
really not like the song as much because we just want, all right, this song I'm finna perform and I like this song and I'm finna make this though. And I always want to go the trappier route with making music because that's the way I'm gonna say something.
I remember Kanye used to talk about, oh my gosh, what's the song? Oh my God. Gold Digger. He talked about Gold Digger like that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, I know I got to make Gold Digger to make everything else go.
Yeah, yeah.
Fans spend a lot of time saying Smoke Perp took the Womp Womp flow on Nephew. Your 216s flow. People are saying 6ix9ine borrowed that. Tyler the Creator borrowed that. At some point, Kanye said drill and you are the most popular things in hip hop, period. The most copied things in hip hop, period. Is that a gift or a curse?
Um, I think it's all a gift, Like even if somebody if you rap a certain way or put out a flow that's on a certain song or something like that, and then somebody bigger than you or anybody put out a song, I mean, I like it. I appreciate that they're doing it, really. But then me being an artist and wanting to record myself, I think one of the things that'll make me not mad is if I hear the flow being used or something like that, but I don't necessarily agree with. You could have said something better. To me, even to myself, I always feel like I could have said something better every line. But I appreciate the fact that they even used the flow, anything.
What's an example of someone using one of your flows that where the bars didn't hold up?
Here you go. All right. I mean, shit, Smoke Perp and what's the boy name on the song with both of them? But I like the song though. And then Chase the Money is my favorite producer, really. Like we started together. So I just if my phone was ringing all day or people sending me shit about it or sending me DMs, it's like the last thing I could do is really get mad. But my artistry turn on and I'm like, I hear something for really the first time. Because if you just started doing music or whatever, this your first time living and hearing the fact that somebody's liking something that you did and using it as a reference or whatever like that. So my artistry kicking in and shit, everything is, oh, I would have said this or I would have said that, or the fact that it ain't better than everything I said makes me like even happier. I like that they used it, and I like that they wasn't amazingly better than what the hell I said on my own shit. You can't lose with that.
You are a brilliant writer. Like you have projects where you'll you're focused on rhyming and not necessarily rapping, right? You want all the bars to rhyme, but you're not thinking about all the triple entendres that are within things. Do you have other projects where you're triple entendre the whole time, all the way out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think when people really care about their craft and pushing their pen, that is something that stands out immediately when they hear other people be inspired by them, borrow from them, bite them, and have their product out to the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I think that is something that a lot of artists have a difficult time getting to as well, right? Because, you know, at some point you have to become a better songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
At some point you have to find different ways to connect with different types of audiences. You seem to have been able to do that with all kinds of fans of all types of rap and all types of hip hop. Those who like melodic things, maybe, and those who like lyrical things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But really though, if you look at it, shit, we all biting because we're all influenced by, you know, something. It's just don't nobody necessarily know who we're biting. It's just already in us from whatever we heard. It's just already mixed up. But you know,
I heard somewhere in the world there's a version of I Love It with Lil Pump and Kanye and you.
yeah, I forgot about that. It is, yeah.
What happened to that version?
I don't know, you know, but shit, I'm glad because it was like that was one of them like songs like you know I gotta make Gold Digger because I want everything else to go. Like when it come to like if you get sent something that's a beat that you wouldn't usually rap on, or it was like I wouldn't really rap on nothing like this, but I'm finna do it. I'm finna try my best to do it. I think it took me a second to do that song too. Took me a second to do it, but I don't know. I don't know why that version didn't come out.
Do you feel like you experienced a lot of industry politics during your time signed to Good Music and Def Jam?
No, I don't think so. You know, I don't know. I just make music. I don't know what they politicking about, but I don't be knowing.
You're so nonchalant, man. You're so laid back, so cool.
Nah, I mean, I really don't be knowing. I really don't be knowing.
Yeah. I was listening to another leaked track the other day. Juice WRLD, Valee, Smoke.
Mm-hmm.
That one had the comment section going crazy.
Yeah, that song crazy. I miss Juice WRLD though. That's my boy, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got.
How'd you guys meet?
I would see Juice WRLD in the studio, way up north here. Like I would see him in the studio, and or going to the damn vending machine, and he got his own studio session. I got my own studio session. And then one day I think I was going to buy some smoke or something like that from out of a studio, and I go in the studio and Juice is in there rapping, but it wasn't no booth. So he got a mic in the studio just out in the open, but his ass had already made 11 songs, just standing right there making all these songs. Like, he's crazy with it. He's cold. He's cold. And that was like probably the second time I met him. And that was a while before both of us. That was a while before, I think that was like a year or two before Shell. When I first saw him.
Yeah, I mean, like, how would you describe what made Juice WRLD great? You know, you said he's your boy. You knew him a few years, you know, before Shell even came out.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing him up close and collaborating with him, how would you describe what makes him great?
Well, first of all, nothing. With him, you could tell that nothing matters but right then. Also, his memory and how he could remember. And, you know, I'll be so into making a song, I'll have like one or two flows or something like that the whole song. Juice is all over the place. Like, you know, he could remember anything and then just bring that right to the front and then just talk on that real quick. But he just keep going.
Mm.
Also, he seemed always just wanting to do music, period. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I say Z Money and Jeremiah and them, or Murph, when they call, I know it's gonna be fun. So I really want to go to the studio only because it's gonna be fun. They're gonna be talking shit, and we really forgetting we making music. But same thing with Juice WRLD. It's kind of, you end up having more fun than making music. I forget, we got some other songs somewhere in the world.
Do you think the world's going to get a chance to hear him?
You know, I thought about that, but I also thought about just holding them. But yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Do you remember where you were when you heard about the tragedy?
Yeah, yeah. I was actually 1 hour away from being back in Chicago. I think I had just drove back from Atlanta. Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, this may be a hard question, but if you had to think about it, do you feel like his passing had any effect on you creatively, whether positively or negatively or motivating or crippling?
No, well, not crippling. Definitely, it fully. But Juice WRLD was motivating me while he was here. Definitely, you know, sometimes Juice will FaceTime you, and his whole background is like is a beautiful sky. It's a beautiful fucking day wherever he is. Like, I remember one day he's FaceTime me. I'm somewhere not as beautiful where he is. I'm like, damn, it's bright as hell, like you in Hawaii or something, because all I see is the sky and everything behind him. So yeah, but it nothing crippled me about it. You know, it was hard definitely dealing with that though. But I still think about Juice like every week, every day almost. You know, because that's somebody that raps. He just raps. You know, really know how to rap,
Mm.
rap, sing, all that.
Yeah. Oh my God, he was a melody monster.
Yeah, I
That
told him,
dude,
I said, bro, I
his
don't even know how
melodies were
you be
nuts.
remembering all this shit. I don't even know how you do it. You know.
You know, I got to tell you right now, you saying that you're thinking about just holding those songs, that really just hit me. It hit me in
Yeah,
a
you
very
know,
visceral way.
I gotta kind of like really, I know he wanted to be out, so I figured out, cause we was silly as hell making that music. That shit was fun, so I'm just have to figure it out. I think the world will hear it.
I oh, I'm sorry, keep going.
I think the world will hear it. I'm gonna figure it out, and yeah, we gonna see. I think it's only like 2 or 3 songs, 2 or 3 more songs that I really like. Yeah,
Yeah. I started this conversation uh introducing you as Valee the impresario, or rather virtuoso. Uh Pun intended, because that project with Harry Fraud is amazing.
yeah. I
Amazing.
appreciate that. Thank you.
You know, I've had it on repeat. I guess when it came out, June, July, something like that. I had a repeat for the past couple of months, and
Yeah.
there's a particular song with was it WTF with Twister,
Hmm.
and that one just feels like just it's one of the songs I like. Right, it's got uh, uh, popular styles from different generations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It feels like it's bridging gaps and uplifting the culture.
Right.
I think I never thought about you over Harry Fraud beats even before I heard this project. You know, I mean, it's just beautiful up and down, and I think it really speaks to the range that you have as an artist. Um, how did that pairing between you and Harry Fraud come about?
Oh well, through Andrew, really. But I had always wanted to work with Harry Fraud, but it's just all about timing. And then talking to Harry, and when I got that first beat pack though, I didn't know what to say or. But then that project, I actually end up damn near doing the most double entendres ever. You know, but
That's what I mean, man. When I was talking about how you was a lyricist, yes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking about everything on 4 different layers at the same time.
yeah, yeah. I don't know how that. His production is crazy. A couple of those tracks though, I rap like on a totally different beat though. So the fact that when you got a producer so good like that, that you'll think that you did a good job on the beat that you recorded on, and then when you hear it back, it's a movie built around it. Totally different beat. So I remember some of them, like 2 of them, I believe. I'm like, I know damn well I recorded this on another beat. This part wasn't here. This part wasn't here. So
What's another one? Watermelon. I think it's Watermelon Automobile with
yeah.
Saba and Mavi.
Mm.
That's another crazy joint on that project. Are you guys going to go back in and you're going to do another project? Oh, Action Bronson, of course, he's on the
Oh yeah.
album as well. Are you going to do another with Harry Fraud? This got to happen, right?
Yeah. I'm about a third of the way through it already. So I'm probably only got 3 damn songs recorded for it, but I'm going. I was gonna try to put out one like first quarter or something like that, January, February next year. So with Harry, now it's probably got to be February. So we'll see what happens.
Who came up with the title Virtuoso?
Not me. Harry came up with that. Yeah. It looks even crazy typed
It
out.
definitely fits.
Like it looks crazy typed out. Like it looks crazy just looking at it. Virtuoso.
Yeah. I've heard of artists getting uh, uh, I've heard of artists making PETA upset. Right. I've seen it. I've seen them wear, chinchilla coats and someone throws paint on it or something.
Yeah.
I've seen people wear all kinds of different outfits that are made from animals. I don't think I've seen it off an album cover before. I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah.
You had a project where you dyed one of your dogs red.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, you used vegan dye, a particular type of dye that's not going to hurt the dog. But describe what happened with that.
I guess it was
if you don't mind.
it was so bright of a color. They just, and then when you posted fresh off a dye, and then the dog was brand new, like 8 weeks, 9 weeks, like that. But it was a very small dog, And then what happened was that post I did, that was at I think it was about exactly 8 o'clock, 7:30 maybe in the morning on a nice day. And so you got a brand new dog walking for the first time on gravel, and it looks like it's too hot outside, and it looks like it's hurting him, but it's not. And then you got him red as hell. They wouldn't leave me alone about that. Yeah, they wouldn't leave me alone about that.
What'd your mentions look like?
It's crazy. It's just crazy. It was that got a lot of feedback. Like people never died a dog before. Yeah, I got death threats and shit. A lot of weirdos out here. Somebody sent me a fucking DM of a old school pizza maker, like in the basement or something. I'm like, what that mean? You should be in here. I don't look. People be tripping. But the dog looked great. I liked it. The dog liked it. And then you know how I know the dog liked it? It's a mirror when you come back in the office from like where, the damn dog stopped and looked in the mirror. That's what I'm trying to say. I know I ain't tweet. And so you got a brand new dog that just walked for the first time on gravel, and then he comes back in and he stopped in the fucking mirror. I just knew he liked it.
I'm sorry. I was trying not to mess up the audio laughing here. So yeah, so what kind of dye did you use again, just for the record, and why is it not bad for the dog? I know you put thought into this. You've got so many dogs. You're a dog lover.
Yeah, it said it was a vegan rinse. It said like will not harm you, will not harm animals. Use this, washes off in 2 weeks. So I tried it. It said it was nothing with no bleach or anything. So I just did that, and it was great.
The dog looked in the mirror.
The dog looking in the
Checking
mirror
himself
is,
out.
yeah, the dog looking in the mirror for the first time to see itself is crazy. But yeah. They would not leave me alone about that though. First I'm thinking, this just Peter just sending out like a little newsletter, but that shit was personal. I think they had my first and last name in there. They're talking directly to me.
Wow. Put your government out there.
Yeah, they wanted me to take it down or something like that. And that's just stupid. So I left it up.
And didn't that become the Runnin' Rich album cover?
Yeah.
Did that end up being the album cover for Runnin' Rich?
Yeah. Running Rich. Bright red dog on the plain background for the cover. Yeah. That's the day he looked in the joint too.
Just a couple more questions here, but I think that it's a bit disarming for me in this conversation, right? Because you're like I mentioned before, you're so nonchalant, but the gravity of what you've accomplished it feels like it hasn't even come across to you. And I know that can't be the case. And so, like, you got Kanye in your corner, right? Kanye said you and Drill are the most, influential people at that point in time, or most influential people in rap. You've got Kenny Beats. Kenny Beats was at the Grammy. They dropped a video of everyone saying who the best rapper alive is. Kenny Beats said Valee.
I fuck with Kenny Beats.
Lupe's a big fan of you. Lupe Fiasco. He liked your lyricism. You got Harry Fraud. You did a project with Harry Fraud. You've got a trappiest elevator music project and a trappiest disco project. You've got, at least 3 leaked joints that a huge population of Juice WRLD fans and Valee fans look at as classics at least. You offer to build Andrew Barber a bar. You help people. You fix people's cars, right?
Yeah.
And you're just sitting here chilling, and I can't tell if any of this means anything to you. Does it? Does it feel like at least you've accomplished maybe something that might have been a dream at some point in time?
Yeah, definitely you do. But everything, sometimes it might take a while for stuff to catch up to me, but I understand everything that be going on. I appreciate everything, definitely. But I'm always looking for what's next. Like, well, what do I do? Or how do I rap? Or the next beat? So it kind of like, it's like how I stay driven, So I kind of like drift off into that world of only caring about just, all right, what's next? I got to keep going. Because sometimes if you get too caught up in somebody saying you did a good job, it's certain positive ways you got to take it, and then there's a few ways that you can't take it. because it'll mess you up. So that's really what it is. I try to keep pushing, but really appreciative of everything.
Do you have a 2 Chainz collaboration on the horizon?
2 Chainz is one of my favorite artists, and I like 2 Chainz because 2 Chainz will show you that man is just, he'll see you out and he'll show you respect. He'll give you your flowers. He'll tell you, if you've been doing a good job or not. So I hope to have him. I wanted him to oversee one of my projects a couple of years ago, but I didn't all the way like the project just yet. So, but in the future, I wanted him to creative direct one of my projects, or let me know what fly on there, what don't, and hopefully we get some music done. But it's just an honor anyway for 2 Chainz to give anybody their props. So I respect him for that too.
Music that you recorded while you were still with Good Music. I think Good Music folded. If not folded, but I think everybody got fired from Good Music, during that period of time. The project that you were working on that you didn't get a chance to put out. Will we ever hear that music, or have we heard some of that music and
yeah.
Maybe didn't realize it?
Yeah, I got a few songs that I would like to definitely put out that were gonna make that project. But then at the time I wanted, for some reason I always want to go like the trappier sounding route, or so I just be wanting everything to sound like a full project. But I put something together and put it out. But I did want to put out a project self-produced by me. I just don't know if that'll be like the summertime coming up or what. But a lot of times it's hard. An artist like me could have a project sitting right here, and last night I was supposed to turn in this project, but by the time the morning come, I feel like I could squeeze something else better on there, even though all the songs could be great.
Word up. Valee, the virtuoso and artist. I appreciate the conversation, man.
No, it's been fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
You want a pine?
No, I definitely, I can tell you this. I need a cafe table.
Okay.
I tell you that.
Okay. We figured that
We
out.
can do a cafe table.
Yeah, we figured that out.
I'm joking.
No, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, y'all.